Hey there, Float Magic fans. Thanks for tuning in with us today. We're excited to be set up in our chill space with a good friend of mine, Janeale Dean. She's not only a friend, she's also a business partner and does our marketing here at Float Magic. So just a lot of opportunity to work closely with her, which I'm so lucky to do. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks. I'm excited for this. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done a podcast.
You're a natural. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. So, but one of the main reasons it prompted me to ask Janeale to come on is because she received a state award recently. I'm going to mess it up. It was State Small Business Idaho Women. You can say it.
It was the 2023 Woman-Owned Small Business Person of the Year for the SBA Boise District.
Okay, see, I would have.
It is a mouthful.
Which is amazing because she runs Desert Creative Marketing Group, and like I said, does all of our marketing, and truly has a mind unlike many people I know. Just so open and outside of the box thinking. So
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That.
Thanks. It was really exciting, and it was my second time applying for it. So don't ever give up on your first time when you're doing something and hoping and dreaming big. So
yeah, that's amazing. So tell us what led into that process for you.
The Women's Business Center, Susie Rios there, she's one of the program directors. She called me and let me know that the application time was open. They do the applications at the end of every year, so November, December timeframe. And then, so she wrote me the recommendation, and I had to gather everything to apply for that. They kind of track year-over-year progress for the last 3 years of your business. You report on your financial data, you report on growth, whether it's square footage or employee growth, market served, those kind of things. But a big part of it is community impact and what you're doing to give back and be more civic-minded throughout your community. And so you basically go through and answer a bunch of questions on that. And it was really fun to just kind of year over year, from the year before when we had applied, kind of take stock of what we have grown. Because sometimes you lose sight of, it's like when you're trying to lose weight or something, every day you look the same and you don't really think about something until you stop and look back at where you were. And in your journey, you're like, wow, I've came so far.
Yeah. No, I think that would be a really rewarding process and truly every company should go through that type of I'm sure there's lots out there that do, but as a small business, that's not really something we always take the opportunity to do.
Absolutely. I feel like you get kind of lost sometimes in your day-to-day on trying to plan and look forward, but also keeping up with everything that's currently happening. And so it's really nice to just kind of take a break, especially around the holidays and year end, to really look at where you went through that year and ended up. So.
Yeah, and put set intentions for the upcoming year and the whole bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and the journey has been, so you had a big reception at your place.
Yeah.
Tell us about your place real quick and where it's located.
So I've always had my business out of my home. We've served clients kind of outside of the immediate area. And so I never really worried about having a physical office location, and most all of our staff is in different states as well. And so it was October time, a space freed up, and it was just absolutely perfect to move into. And so we decided to go ahead and do that, and moved in there in October, where right next to Bull Moose Bicycles up above me, Tierra. And it's just a funky, cool space. And I love everything about it. Huge windows, mid-century modern.
So fitting for you. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was another space to decorate, lots of windows for more plants, which I was excited about. And so now it's just nice because I don't necessarily have to feel obligated to be there every day, but it's a good place to meet people and have a group to gather with and kind of just privacy to discuss things and everything like that. So it was well needed and overdue, but at the same time, I don't feel like it separates from our original business model and how we set up. Because one thing I really wanted, not just for me, but for everybody who contributes work for us is to have freedom and flexibility. And that includes for me, I love traveling. And so I wanted to still be able to work and travel. And I can still do that without, having to worry about, well, I have this big office space and I need to worry about that.
Yeah.
It's just enough of what we needed to do that. And then in November, we actually expanded over our lease to the space next door. And that one, I've been working with the Small Business Development Center and developing a startup incubator and entrepreneur training center. So that's a lot of fun.
Which is so cool.
Yeah.
That's and that kind of segues right into some of our passions that we have together and some projects. I mean, we won't expose our projects by any mean, but I think that the way that we came together is pretty fascinating. So I want to give a little background on how Janeale stepped into my life and how we started working with one another. So you were a client here with us and you were floating and you simply just said, you know what, if you ever need help with marketing, I can help in that. That's where my skill set is. And it's so important for us to have somebody that understands who we are.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of times I've had people coming in wanting to write articles for us or trying to represent us in one form or another. And if they don't use our products and our services, it's really hard to speak to what it is we do.
Yeah.
And so that is one of the things that I'm super grateful to you and your staff because you actually know what we deliver from a personal level.
Yeah. Well, and it's nice too, because we firmly believe in it because I use it all the time. And it's just so important to have self-care. And you guys have already been one of my self-care rituals that I do. And so it's nice to be able to help spread awareness of that to other people too.
Yeah. What's some of your favorite services?
I love floating. It's just, I always describe it like it's one of the most relaxing things you can ever do. When you get a massage, that's really physically relaxing, but you're still mentally stimulated. And you never have an opportunity in modern world to just unplug and shut off, and that you're completely unplugged and you're either just kind of left with dealing what's on your mind, which sometimes for me, I need to just focus and deal with it. So that can be really powerful. Or if nothing pressing is there, you just have the ability to let go. And I fall asleep oftentimes and things like that. So I really love floating. And that's something I try to do regularly to kind of reset myself. But then I also love the sauna, especially in the wintertime. And after skiing, we would come in and use that. So that was really great.
Loosen up all those muscles. Well, and there's it's kind of fascinating because we always learn stuff all the time, right? We're watching our clients use our services. We're watching the way that they adapt to our services throughout the year. And with our cold immersion therapy and our heat, heat exposure. We are learning that the shoulder seasons are super important.
Yeah.
When you're getting ready for the cold weather, it's actually cold plunge in the fall.
Yeah.
Is really beneficial for that.
Absolutely.
And as you're trying to acclimate back to warmer weather, it's the sauna that's going to acclimate you back. Yeah. Most people think sauna use in the winter, which is lovely. I mean, that absolutely is beneficial because cold exposure outside and then warm in is very beneficial for us. But utilizing those services to kind of guide us into the next season, especially for athletes who have to acclimate.
Absolutely.
Or people that work outside that have to acclimate to
Absolutely. No, that's great.
But yeah, so you came in, said we started working together, and then we realized how similarly aligned our passions outside of our current businesses are. That was a fun discovery.
Absolutely. Well, and it's just been so much fun that we can personally connect and then also business connect on the same level and everything. It's been really great.
Yeah. And that's a full spectrum relationship, when we are so supportive to one another in business. Yeah. And then also outside of business.
Absolutely. Because we have built-in cheerleaders and also people to turn to when things are rough and everything like that too. Yeah. And so it's just really nice having a really full kind of support system of somebody who understands the inside and out, and that goes for you guys too.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I know. So I've noticed is my shift in the people. Entrepreneurship is not I mean, for those who have never ventured into it, it's hard to explain.
It is. I feel like it's romanticized a lot.
It is.
Yeah. One thing I try to do with clients, set the realistic expectation on, people who have made it that are out there as business influencers in the world. They oftentimes leave out little tidbits like, you will maybe be the poorest you have ever been in your life.
Right.
Your credit score can drop 100 points, and that is normal.
Right.
Banks don't really like you anymore. and sometimes you feel like you're doing something wrong, but that's normal. And it's, you just have to keep grinding and working through it because, that's why so many businesses fail at year one, because they get into it and you get the initial boost of being new and everybody wants to know who you are. But then that kind of dies down and you really have to work on sustainability at that point. And that's where it gets hard. And that's where it gets kind of uncertain, where you have your ebbs and flows and everything like that. And I feel like so many people just kind of gloss over that aspect. And then when people get through it, they're just like, what am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? Is this not working? And they start to question everything.
Absolutely. Like the highlights, it's easy to go back through and just touch on the highlights of how a business is successful. And I know with us, we're year 3 and we're seeing adaptations. The newness is worn off. People are trying to understand how to utilize us better. And that's kind of where we're shifting our focus, is how do you utilize us for emotional fitness and keeping the optimal wheel greased, right? At your optimum capacity. And then there's things out of your control. There are absolutely, we're in a soft recession, right? Is that the word we're using?
I don't know. It's like they're trying to freak us out, but not too bad.
And it's it's not really a recession because there's employment, there's not the unemployment that usually follows a recession. So it's the environment of trying to do business right now. And marketing. Boy, oh boy, marketing is probably I was so excited to do marketing. I was like, oh yeah, I got this. This is going to be great. Oh my word. What an area of expertise marketing is.
It's an oversaturated mess most of the time. And it's really challenging because marketing is one of those things where if you're doing it and you're doing it well, you're walking into uncertainty at every angle. And so you're not doing the same thing that you have done or you see everybody else doing because you want to be different. You want to stand out. So therefore, it's very experimental by nature.
Yes.
And you just have to kind of put something out and be consistent with it, but also know when that boundary is of it's time to adapt and change, but you can't change too much.
Right. Because you just have to pivot just enough.
And just so you know what that change was that made it work. And so it's a very kind of long trial and error process.
Yeah. Well, I really did think by now, I'd have my marketing down. I'm not even close.
I think you're doing a rock solid job. I mean, it's one of those things that it's ever evolving as technology kind of innovates and changes. But then also you get more into the groove of who you want to be as a company.
Yes.
And so you find what tools at your disposal that you're comfortable and happy with, that your, clientele's happy and comfortable with too, because it's one of those things where I like to think of marketing like a philosophy. So you're just picking a philosophy on the way that you want to conduct yourself and communicate with people. There's many different ways to show up. So you're just picking, this is what feels good for us. And then you choose the tools out of your toolbox to deliver that strategy and that philosophy to people. And so there's countless and endless ways to kind of combine those. And that's the fun part of it, is figuring out that puzzle.
Yeah. And in marketing, there's so many specialized tools. Well, like my podcast, right? This addresses an audience and truly having the community on here. And those are things that I really enjoy. And I've gotten good feedback from that because I think people, they're interested in their community. They want to know who exists and what they're doing. And there's so many gems in our community that we don't. I mean, I have years worth of podcast material just by what we have in this community. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, and tapping into things and the people who not only bolster you up in your business, and they're your clients, they use your services, but also just creating that community feeling that we're all in this together and we're all here to support each other is really important.
Yeah. And you and I have big visions for this community, don't we?
We do. And it's so fun to get together and talk about them all the time.
Yeah, it is. Like, we'll just go out and be totally entertained about how are we going to bolster Twin Falls?
Yep.
What are we going to bring? We've even taken trips as R&D.
Yeah. R&D trips are my favorite.
Mine too. Absolutely. Business write-off.
Yeah.
You get to go like, oh yeah, we're just going to a bunch of places where we can absorb the atmosphere.
And bringing really fun things to our area.
Yeah.
So that way you don't always have to feel compelled to travel somewhere else. We can bring those really cool, unique things here.
Which I think is what the pandemic really drove home, is how important the community you live in is. Like, if you can't travel anywhere, what can you do in your own community to help you get through a hard time, to entertain you, to expand your horizons? Yeah, all of those elements in a community are so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, it's been fun.
It has. Yeah. So I want to ask, I want to know what your greatest accomplishment as an entrepreneur and the hardest barrier you've faced.
So I think one of my biggest accomplishments is staying true to values that I believe are important. It's really easy to get sidetracked when you see somebody that is kind of your competition, but even maybe not even really doing something, and it's working really well for them. And you're like, oh, do I need to do that too? Do I need to keep up? And it feels like you just kind of start like working on that frame of mind of just keeping up with what everybody else is doing. And I have worked really hard to just be like, no, we are going to do things that matter to us, that contribute value, and we're not going to go down some of those paths, and just staying really true to those values. And it sometimes doesn't always like financially serve us. Like, we could have been in different places or making money in different areas, but that's not what I wanted. And that's not who I wanted to be or what I wanted the company to be. And so I feel like staying true to the vision and the value that we've provided has been sometimes hard, but really rewarding. And people start to see and believe in it. And that's what brings people in at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, you're building this foundation of innovation, right? Like, when you're so busy trying to keep up with, the competition or fitting into whatever molds people have in mind of what this business should be, you totally lose the opportunity to be innovative in who you are. And I think we can apply that on a personal level and as a business level and a society level.
Absolutely. Well, and it's funny too, because we talk about this all the time, like the abundance mindset. And so even when I look at some of my competitors in the area, we have built our businesses really great in our own kind of way, but we all complement each other. We don't directly compete with each other. We might have some overlap in things here and there, but to me, that's great because it's like another resource I could reach out to if I needed help or needed help fulfilling extra work, and so there's a lot of room to work together, and it's not this like competitive mindset. I've never looked at any of my competitors as like, oh, they're a competitor that I need to compete with. It's more just like, hey, you're doing an awesome job. Like, keep kicking ass, you know, and I'm going to be over here building this up, and like, let me know if
I can help you. Exactly. And that was one of the really appealing draws I had with you, is that you are very open to work with other marketing firms and organizations and businesses to deliver what is going to suit your clients best. What's going to meet their needs. If you don't have the ability to meet their needs, you have resources in other businesses to reach out to. So.
Absolutely. And that's, I feel like, what I spend a lot of my time doing is building that network of that. And, we've been working even just the last 3 months of building a really robust and diverse leadership team, where people contribute amazing skills that, I could have never brought
Sure.
forth. And, it's just finding really amazing, strong people and saying I would love to work with you, and seeing what comes out of that. And so building those kind of teams and networks is one thing that I put a huge priority on.
Yeah. Your relationships with others it's apparent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your biggest accomplishment. It's kind of tied into what you just said, but I'm curious.
I'd say that probably is my biggest accomplishment. That's something I'm most proud of, is when I can, put something out and talk about what I'm thinking and make it a really collaborative process with the network of people I'm trying to build it with. And we can all build something that we're really proud of. It's way bigger than me, and if I can help be a catalyst on building something that's really powerful and beneficial to a lot of people, then that's something I'm just really proud of. And
Yeah. Well, I'm super proud to have you in my circle.
I'm really proud to have you in mine too.
Oh, yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience? And stay tuned, because there's stuff we hope to do one day together, which I'm still very excited about.
Me too. I guess, do we want to talk about, I'd be curious to hear from you even when it comes to entrepreneurship, staying the course, not giving up, self-care. What are some things you do that keep you going?
Yeah. So you touched on a lot of them. I think that your mindset is so important. And here I run this business. It's all about keeping mindset and keeping what our focus, right? Allowing for modalities to do that. But it's even hard for me to use those in my own space.
Yeah.
Because when I come into my space and start that process, I'm thinking, oh, what can I hear? Oh, there's a little bit of light coming in. What? It's constantly thinking about how to improve the process. And so I've noticed that when I pull back and start with an intention in everything I do, it really clears up my focus. It gives me clarity on what the purpose behind the process.
Yeah.
And so, and anytime I start to get overwhelmed by all the duties of entrepreneurship, same thing, pull back. What's my intention? Why am I starting this program? Yep. Why are we going with this service? What's the intention? It really helps me to have clarity on my purpose.
Absolutely. That's really powerful. Yeah.
And what was the second question?
Just some things in your process that you do to keep you sane.
To keep me sane. Yes. So I utilize my services a lot, of course.
Which one's your favorite?
Right now, Plunge.
Yeah.
It is such a powerful process. And talk about resiliency. It really, and it is colder in the summer than it is in the winter.
Yeah.
Everybody would think it was different, but you're so used to it being warm out here that when you do a cold plunge in the summer, you're like all my staff say, that is way colder. Did we turn it down? Well, no, we didn't.
It's just you're used to warmer now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But man, is it powerful. It truly is empowering to put yourself, and, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Andrew Huberman's my favorite. One day he's going to hear that he's my favorite and maybe be on my podcast when I'm big enough. Just putting that out in the universe. But he has said that those walls that we overcome as we do the cold plunge, first wall is getting in.
Yeah.
Second wall might be getting up to our neck. Third wall might be dunking, or maybe third wall is, I can't do this and I'm going to make it to 3 minutes. And then you get to 3 minutes and you're, no, I can do 4. Fourth wall. The more walls you break through in the process, the better resiliency you're getting and the bigger benefit from that service. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Well, I wish we could talk all day. We really could. I'm sure there might be other podcasts I have you come on, but we are out of time today. But I just want you to know how much I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So glad you're in this community.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful for all of you that tune in. You can catch our podcasts on anywhere where you listen to your podcasts. We're on most platforms out there right now. So we drop about every other week with great individuals and great topics. So we're happy you guys are tuning in. Until next time, just remember it's perfectly okay to stay salty.